At the very foundation of the American state is freedom, which is referred to by Americans in all possible cases. Donald Trump asserts that it is his presidency that guarantees freedom of speech.
Censorship from your voices and brought back free speech in America. We have free speech. We didn't have free speech. We do have it now, actually.
Unfortunately, we are very far from the American freedom of speech. It is difficult to talk about full freedom of speech when the largest news station in the country, namely Republica, is notoriously not allowed into government press conferences.
Proszę mnie zostawić. Szanowni Państwo, to jest skandal! Republika!
And the leading politicians of the December 13th coalition are talking about depriving us of our broadcasting license. Americans are not going to stand by and watch the destruction of Republica. That's why CPAC, an organization of conservatives around the world, has a clear message for Donald Tusk.
CPAC będzie was ścigać i CPAC będzie podkreślać te oburzające działania.
The fight against independent media is one of the symbols of the so-called fighting democracy, which is characterized by the gradual dismantling of the rule of law. As Donald Trump revealed, the previous U.S. cabinet generously sponsored the leftist circles that elevated Donald Tusk to the prime minister's seat.
The left-wing scam known as USAID, the agency's name, has been removed from its former building, and that space will now house agents from Customs and Border Patrol.
Now the money tap for leftist propaganda has been turned off. However, years of brainwashing have left their effects. This shows by what means it was possible to influence the formation, well, of course, of the political situation, but above all, attitudes. First of all, social attitudes, because these were very often organizations that shaped social attitudes in various ways, that built ideological currents. President Donald Trump, like his right-hand J.D. Vance, loudly opposes the destruction of the opposition by the state apparatus.
I ended Joe Biden's weaponization as soon as I got in. I said, I'm going to hit him with the same stuff. But I ended his whole weaponization of our government and removed his hand-picked radical left Marxist prosecutors from the Department of Justice. I was so happy to do that. They weaponized government. They weaponized government. I pardoned hundreds and hundreds of Biden's political prisoners, including Christians, pro-life activists, and the J6 hostages who were treated terribly for years.
Unfortunately, we are dealing with the persecution of the opposition in Poland. Detaining active deputies with immunity or treating ordinary officials inhumanely, only to have them incriminate the government's political opponents with testimony, is what Donald Tusk calls a policy of settlements. We had to deal with such practices during communism. Young people don't remember this, but during martial law, and generally after martial law, I still remember as a young person growing up then, that people were arrested all the time for various activities, primarily for opposition activities. Today I have no doubt at all, that a large part of these people are locked up for simply political reasons. The political reason mainly lies in the fact that those in power want to intimidate. This lawlessness is recognized overseas. Analysts from the Hudson Institute, an American think tank, have pointed out examples of law-breaking by Donald Tusk's team in their report. Since taking office in December 2023, the Civic Coalition government has embarked upon a campaign of lawfare and criminalization of political differences, the goal of which is to ensure law and justice never again represents a serious challenge to its power. The Civic Coalition has crossed the line with its iron broom approach to addressing these issues. The report is a breakthrough because it shatters the ideal media image of Donald Tusk in the West. I have read it, and I can say yes, unfortunately it is true. That's one. And two, well, those politicians in Poland who implement it have bad luck because they ended up this time with a president in the U.S. who is absolutely sensitive to this. President Donald Trump understands like no one else what it's like to be constantly brought down by the opposition.
Put under investigation more so than the late, great Alphonse Capone, one of the great killers of the world. Trump, my father would look down my mother. How the hell did this happen to my boy?
The current governing coalition in Poland will not have it easy with Donald Trump, to put it mildly. The U.S. president has made it clear that he will defend freedom. In the White House, they know too what kind of gestures and words Donald Tusk and his team have directed toward Donald Trump.